Hi guys, welcome to my channel, and as usual, remember to like, subscribe. And today we're gonna be talking about the overall audit process, right? What happens in the auditing process. So remember, I'm using the AUE 1501, the 2021 copy. Please do download it on Telegram, and it will be beneficial for you as we'll be going around this thing. So with the audit process starts at preliminary engagement activities. Then we get into the planning. Then we go into the responding to the assessed risk. Then the conclusion, right? So preliminary engagement basically is before engagement. Basically what they mean is before you have engaged, or before you have a contract, or before you have signed anything with the client or with the prospective client, you now have to go there and actually test, okay, are these guys a reputable organization? Because remember, whatever that you're going to be doing there, your reputation is also at stake. So you also want to operate or deal with people who are going to have who have integrity, at least, who are not going to be people who are going to probably have a track record of withholding information and stuff. So basically, at preliminary engagement, we are saying this is the time where you do your background check on your prospective client, get to know more about them, and also would they also be able to afford your services, because you might be getting a client and who is also in a financial mess, and they won't be able to pay for your engagement. So you have to do background checks on the client. So anything that you're going to be doing in form of background check before you start, or before you get into an engagement, it falls under preliminary engagement. So they've just heard about you via reference, or you're just marketing and wara, and you still knowing, okay, this is the client, this person needs an auditor, or this company, they need an auditor. Before you say yes to it, you have to go through stages where, okay, where are they based? Who was the previous auditor? Is this their first audit? And all those things. Get more information about the client before you start. After you start, you then have to plan, right? And when you're planning, you now have to identify, okay, which areas are you going to be focusing on? Which areas are you going to be deeming important? And you now have to see, do you have enough staff complement which can be able to also take upon this, right? To take upon the task that is going to be in front of you. And besides that, you also have to also understand yourself that do you have the resources, right? So everything is stated at page 105 as the benefits. You just have to look into it, and you're doing your planning. Okay, this business, it operates in this sector. In this sector, these companies in this sector, they are usually affected by risks A, B, and C. Okay, so our audit is going to be targeting A, B, and C. Do we have the resources necessary to do so? That's also something that forms into planning. And who are going to be the senior employees, or the seniors who are going to be also overseeing the whole thing? So you are going to, so you do that. All those steps that you do, which are also stated there for you at 105, are very important, and they are part of your planning. So after you've planned, then you are going to be coming across the risks, right? And when you come across those risks, you have to respond to the risks, right? So in your responses to the risk, right, as you respond to the risks, you have to perform your audit procedures, which becomes your test of control, which becomes your substantive and your substantive control. Remember, it's not limited. It's not a matter of you just perform test of controls or audit procedures or substantive procedures only. You can have a combination of both. It's usually advisable to have a combination of test of controls as well as your substantive controls, which will help you to get to a conclusion. So as you respond, right, you then go and you as you'll be performing, or you'll be performing the audit, you then identify the risk. After you've then identified the risk, you now have to respond to that risk that you would have identified. After you've identified that risk and you've responded in form of your audit procedures, the audit procedures are going to then give you a better understanding of what goes on in that organization. And now that you have a better understanding, you can then use that understanding to conclude. And as you conclude, you now have to now write an opinion, give us an opinion of what's going on that organization. So in overall, it's actually just a bunch of stages, right? Remember, you're gonna have your preliminary engagement activities, you're gonna have your planning, after planning you have to respond to the assessed risk, then you're going to conclude. So at this level, at 1501, you just have to identify or know, okay, this step, where does it fall under, right? Applying for instance, applying for registration is going to be part of your planning. It's not it's gonna be part of a preliminary engagement, right? Before engagement, what are you gonna be doing, which is your background checks, right? You're going to be investigating the potential client, which industry they operate in, do they have an auditor? Do they have an auditor before? Is this gonna be their first audit? How are they performing financially? Of course, you can't really get the 100% information, but you can get an idea. How are they performing financially? Would they be able to also afford to have your services? So all those background checks, they're going to be falling under preliminary. Then at planning, you're now going to look at yourself. Are you able to take up the audit? Number one, what are going to be your areas of focus? After you focus areas of focus, what kind of audit are you going to be? Like, what's going to be the nature of your thing, your audit? Which staff members are you going to assign, and who are going to be the seniors in that audit, right? Responding to the assessed risk. So you're going to assess in planning, okay, these guys are going to be mainly vulnerable to risk A, B, and C, right? So how are you going to be responding to that risk? So mainly you're going to be coming up with audit procedures. And the audit procedures that you're going to be coming up with, are they going to be test of controls? Are they going to be substantive procedures? Then those procedures, they're going to give you evidence, and that evidence, they're gonna give you a clear understanding of what's happening. And from your audit procedures, you'll now be able to formulate a conclusion. Is everything fairly present, or you have to modify your opinion, and a whole lot of things that you end up having to do there. So that is this chapter in a nutshell. So please guys, remember to also like, subscribe, remember to do further reading, remember to also take your time to play back this video, drop a comment if you don't understand anything. Those people who would say, no, I would want a one-on-one session, I'm also open for that. Do contact the details which are on my channel, and we'll be able to arrange that as well. But in terms of this part, that will be it. You start by preliminary engagement, then you get into planning, then you respond. After you respond, then you give a conclusion. Remember, you as an external auditor to that company, you are there to give an opinion. So your opinion is only going to come at the conclusion. In case, for testing purposes, they decide to give you an exercise or an exam where you have to put it in order. You start by preliminary. Preliminary, do a background check on the client. After you do the background check on the client, and you believe that this client at least is someone who's not going to tarnish your image, is someone who's not going to tarnish your reputation, then you can go on and give them a letter, because there's a letter that an engagement letter, you're going to learn about it on your further studies. You sign an engagement letter and everything. Can you start your planning? Who are you going to assign? How are you going to be going about it? What is going to be the nature of your audit, and all those things? What time? When are you going to be doing your procedures? All of that is going to be found under planning. Then after you do that planning, then you have to respond to the assessed risks that you're going to come across as you be performing the audit, which is you're going to now apply your tests of controls or your substantive procedures on the audit evidence. Then as you perform that on the audit evidence, then you come up with a conclusion. So thank you so much for taking your time to listen to this. Remember to like, subscribe. Thank you.